Broadcasting live all across this country. This is Home Talk right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network and the World Wide Web. The man from the Bayou Land and the 2011 Talk Radio Host of the Year, the host of Home Talk USA, the Cajun Contractor, Michael King.
Yay! I'm the Cajun Contractor, Michael King, and this is Home Talk USA. Today's topic is about wood-burning appliances. And my guest today is David Jarkins with Nature's Renewable Products. Now, David's going to be discussing the features and benefits of pellet furnaces. And a little later in the show, David's also going to give us a demonstration. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, David's going to be a guest on my radio program. I'm the Cajun Contractor, Michael King, and this is Home Talk USA. Y'all come back now, you hear? Yay! Today's topic is about biomass furnaces, and my guest today is David Jarkins. He is with a company called Nature's Renewable Products, and he's going to discuss this wood pellet furnace that they manufacture over there. David, welcome to Home Talk USA, man.
Thanks, Michael.
We had a great time, and I want to mention to my audience that a little later in the show, we're going to be demonstrating this this furnace, right?
Yes, we're going to be demonstrating it right out of the trailer that we take to our shows all across the country.
Yeah, it was just too big to get in the studio,
a little bit big.
Hey, we did it outside. So prior to this, I wasn't too much familiar with that type of technology, that type of furnace, a wood pellet burning type of furnace, because in today's market, there's all sorts of options, you know. But David, why don't you start by giving us a little history on Nature's Renewable Products?
So Nature's Renewable Products was started a few years ago. We had a need in our business, it was a seasonal business, to try and bridge some of those down times, and pellet furnaces was something that was relatively new. They were on the market. We looked at several different types, and this particular one is the one that we thought would be the best one for the home consumer and also for commercial folks that needed something to heat a larger space.
So this type of technology has been a while, on for a while, right?
It has, but you know, it's been one of these technologies that hasn't come to the forefront. One of the big questions we get from folks is, what is that thing? I've never seen or heard of anything like it.
Well, because when we demonstrated a little earlier, I mean, wow, very efficient.
It is.
Clean burning.
Yes.
Very easy to operate. You know, it just amazed me how functional that these furnaces really are.
It is. It's a lot easier than most folks think about when they think about trying to heat with natural products like wood.
So David, this is an alternative home heat source, right?
That's right. This is alternative in the sense that it doesn't use conventional fuels like electricity, natural gas, propane, fuel oil, anything that is ubiquitous across the country.
Well, I have a saying, I was green before green was even coal, and obviously this fits that terminology.
It does.
Green, eco-friendly product that's safe. And,
that's right. Absolutely.
Because I tell you, the EPA's got to be on you guys to make sure that, you know, when you're burning these systems, it's
very clean emissions from the units. The EPA, like you say, they have a host of regulations around these types of devices, and we have to comply with those regulations. And you can see when the thing's running, there's no smoke that is emitted from it while it's going.
Again, it's fueled by wood pellets, right? Explain this again.
Yeah, wood pellets is the primary fuel that the vast majority of our customers will use in these things. And wood pellets are nothing more than sawdust that's been compressed under a high load, and it comes out, and it's a small pellet, and you put that in the hopper, and that's what it burns.
So it's actually burning wood.
It is wood.
Micro wood.
little tiny logs. If you could see them, they look like little tiny logs.
Now, are these pellets readily available, though?
Wood pellets are available all across the country, and they're in home improvement stores, they're in farm supply stores. You can even go to Walmart and get wood pellets.
Okay. Wow. I never noticed them because I wasn't looking for them.
Not looking for them. But this device will also burn corn, which is the original fuel that it was designed for, was corn. And it's just shelled dry corn that people put in the hopper, and it burns it. That was the original one, and there's been modifications made over the years, so now it not only burns corn, but wood pellets, as we discussed, cherry pits, wheat, oats. There's a farmer out in California that I heard had a failed pistachio crop, and he actually put pistachios, he couldn't sell them because the USDA wouldn't let him sell the pistachios, and he used those as fuel. So any kind of small biomass fuel like that that flows easily works well in this device.
And again, clean burning.
Yes.
Wow. So again, it is an alternative heat source, as you said.
It is.
I'm sure it can greatly reduce the home's heating and costs during the winter, right?
Right. So if your folks that are watching your show and listening on the radio, last year, the price of propane, which is probably the fuel that we go up against the most, it was all over the board. I heard one guy out in Montana told me that he paid $7 a gallon for propane, and that is unbelievably high. And wood pellets are a lot cheaper than that, and it's not only cheaper for propane, but also fuel oil. Up in the Northeast and New England states, they use a lot of fuel oil up there, and as the price of oil rises and falls, their heat bills can get out of control. Wood pellets have been fairly stable as far as cost over years.
Where would you place these units? What is the best place that can maximize the efficiencies? Where would it go? Where would you put it? In a home, in a basement, in a workshop? I mean...
Yeah, we put them in anything from small shops to homes. We put them in greenhouses, warehouses. There's a whole range of different installations that we do. We put them in aquaponic greenhouses, not only for the heat, but to control the humidity there too. But in the home, folks will put these in their basement, for instance, right next to the furnace that they've always had in there. Their natural gas furnace, for instance, the propane furnace. This will go in right next to it. Goes into the same ductwork and all of that. Out in a shop, they would just vent it out into the shop itself and blow the heat around. In a greenhouse or in a warehouse, they would have a similar configuration.
Obviously, we just talked about the energy savings. It's huge. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure they have to have some other benefits to this, right?
Yeah, there is. Most pellet stoves is what your audience is going to be familiar with, are pellet stoves. These are single units that you'll put in a room, and they'll heat that one room very well. They're not ducted through the entire house when you're looking at a house. And the device that we demonstrated earlier and that we sell is ducted into the whole building. So as the heat comes off of it, there's a fan that blows the heat into the ductwork just like an ordinary furnace, and it heats the entire building rather than just one room.
David, we have to take a short break, okay?
Okay.
And so hold on right there. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We're talking to David Jarkins. He is with Nature's Renewable Products, the manufacturers of what they call a biomass wood burning furnace, an appliance. You can consider it an appliance, you know. A real efficient alternative way, a heating source for the home, your business, your shop. I'm the Cajun Man. Y'all come back now, you hear? Now, before the break, we talked about energy savings. I mean, that's what it all boils down to.
It does.
Will this save me money? The costs of operating this unit, is it more? Because, you know, my audience is not going to invest in things that cost more to operate. It might be efficient in some ways, but it costs us more.
Right.
So what kind of cost savings can we realize here, David?
So your cost savings is really going to depend on the type of fuel you're currently using to heat your home, your workshop, your greenhouse, whatever it may be. Right now, natural gas is probably the least expensive thing that you can use to heat a space. And wood pellets, biomass, anything like that can't compete with things like natural gas. Now, propane, that has a very volatile price to it. And typically, the price for wood pellets or corn will be below that. Heating oil, home heating oil, that is usually pretty high also, and we can save money over that type of fuel too by using various types of biomasses. So typically on propane, on average, and that's probably the fuel that most people would switch to our device over, and you're going to save on average 40% by using wood pellets versus propane. But you don't have to take my word for it. The USDA has a calculator up on their website, and folks can go to our website and get a direct link to it, and you can put in what fuel you're currently burning, how much it costs, how much corn, wood pellets, whatever it costs, and it will show you exactly how much you're going to save.
Wow, and that's because these units have been tested, they've been monitored. That's great to know, to be honest with you. Yeah. Now, how large of a space will it heat, though? And how much space do I need?
So the space that you need is probably an easier question.
Okay.
The space that you need is going to depend on what size of fuel hopper you want to use. So we've got one fuel hopper that will hold 600 pounds of wood pellets at a time, and that's pretty large. And if you've got a space that's big enough for that, I always tell folks that's what you want, because you're not going to have to fill it as often. But we had a number of people that looked at this device and said, that would be great, but I cannot fit that in my garage, in my basement, whatever. So we came up with a smaller hopper that holds about 200 pounds of pellets. It's very compact, and you can install this thing in a fairly small space. Now, as far as the size of space it's going to heat, I mentioned earlier that we do everything from small shops, homes, to greenhouses and warehouses. The fuel rate that it burns is adjustable. And so what that means is that you can take the same unit and put it in a small space, or you can put it in a large space.
How does this compare, say, to other heat alternative stick wood furnaces, though? How does it compare?
Right, so some of the benefits are that it will heat an entire space. You can run the hot air into a ductwork system and get that out into other rooms, other parts of the building, that sort of thing. So that's one advantage. But the other advantage, especially when you compare it to a stickwood type furnace, is that you've got a fuel reservoir on there, the hopper, that holds several days worth of fuel in there. With a stickwood appliance, typically, and I ask this question when people come up to me and they say, hey, you know what, I've got a stickwood furnace or a stickwood hydronic heating system. And the first thing I ask them is, how often do you have to fill that thing? And they'll say 2 or 3 times a day. So if you have to be there and fill this thing 2 or 3 times a day, what are you going to do on the weekend when you go away?
Yeah.
You're going to have to fire up the propane furnace, or someone's going to have to come in, if that's your only heat source, and feed the monster. With ours, the small hopper in a typical home is going to last 3 days. With the large hopper, it's going to last 10 days. So you can get a number of days of burn out of it and not have to worry about running out of fuel.
Dave, what is a BTU rating?
BTU stands for British Thermal Units, and that's how most furnaces are rated, so that you know how much heat you're going to get out of a unit.
Oh, so that's basically it. It tells you the heat, again.
The heating capacity of the unit, correct.
Yeah, because usually when I saw AC units, it says I'm buying a 24,000 BTU unit.
Right.
I was always wondering what that was, without asking, Again, we had a great time demoing, and I do invite my audience to stay with us here, because you go through the whole feature, all the components. Actually, I think from the time you load up, the hopper, take the pellets out of the hopper into the little furnace,
right,
and then show you. It was very easy to do.
It is a very easy system. It's very reliable. There's not a lot of things in it that can go wrong. The unit that we demonstrated was the -9, and you were asking about BTUs earlier. BTU of that one is conservatively rated at 65,000 BTU. We've got a -10, and that's the one we put in greenhouses and large warehouses, and that one's at 120,000 BTUs.
The Cajun Contractor will be back with more Home Talk after these messages. And now let's join the Cajun Contractor in the Home Talk workshop with this week's guest.
What is a wood burning pellet furnace?
So a wood burning pellet furnace is just like any other furnace as far as the homeowner is concerned. It's like a gas or an electric furnace fuel oil, anything like that, but it's fueled with wood pellets in this case.
Now, Dave, I think that unit is kind of too big to fit in this.
Yeah, I don't want to
my
carry it in
workshop.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a demonstration unit outside.
It's the unit that we take to shows all over the country.
So let's go see how that bad boy works.
Great.
All right, what we have here?
This is an A-Maize-Ing Heat biomass furnace. It's a central forced air furnace.
Let's talk about some of the features and some of the bells and whistles.
Okay, so some of the features of this unit is that it comes with a couple of different hopper options.
Okay.
It's got a auger system that drives fuel into it. We've got a burn chamber here. All of our controls are up front here on the side, and then we've got a combustion air unit down on the side of the unit. Now, one of the key features of this that a lot of our customers really like is that it's all discrete components. There's no computer controls in this that are going to go out, anything like that. So obviously you're going to get the main furnace itself, and then you're going to get a choice of one of two hoppers. You can either get this hopper that's on the side here. It's called a wedge, holds about 200 pounds of pellets. And then we've got a larger hopper option that holds about 600 pounds of pellets.
Now, I see you have a bunch of control units, and you have, well, you have to have some type of ventilation and air that has to go into the unit.
Right.
And I guess that's
the combustion air blower down there on the side.
All right. And what would be the purpose of all this, and explain to my audience?
So you've got a couple of things right up here on front. Obviously, you've got your door that gives you access to the burn chamber. You've got this device here, which is a cleaning device for the inside of the heat exchanger. So once a day, the customer would just exercise that a couple times, and what that's going to do is clean the heat exchanger, all the ash and things like that off of it, keep it burning efficiently.
Now, David, what about maintenance?
Maintenance for this unit is pretty simple. Cleaning the heat exchanger inside is very easy. Just pulling that handle in and out a couple of times is going to clean that. All of the ash is going to fall down onto this plate here and then down into the ash pan. Now, at the end of the season, you're going to clean all of this ash out that you see in here.
Okay.
You're going to take this plate out. This plate comes right out. You're going to clean all of this up in here with an ash vac. It's important that you use an ash vac and not just someone's shop vac, because it's got a special filter on it, and they're steel, so they're not going to melt. So clean all this up and then spray all the inside of this with WD-40, something like that, as a rust inhibitor.
Okay.
And then on the back of the unit, there is your flue connection that you're going to disconnect and clean all the ash out of that also, and spray some WD-40 in there also. The last thing, and this is critical, is you want to have a professional chimney sweep come in and check your flue, check your chimney, make sure that all that's good and clean and doesn't have any creosote built up in it.
Well, David, show me the process.
All right. First, I'm going to take some wood pellets. That's what we're going to be burning today.
Okay.
And put about 3 scoops of that in the burn pot.
Now, you already have 2, right?
I already put 2 in there.
So let's get
I've got the last one in there.
All right.
And then I'm going to take a gelled fire starter. This is what we recommend. You don't want to use a liquid fire starter or anything like that. You want something that's going to be gelled.
Okay. Gel fire starter.
It's an alcohol base
Okay.
fire starter. And I'm going to pour that over the top of the wood pellets. Light that gel. Okay, and it's burning in there. It's hard to see because the alcohol...
Yes, I can see the flame.
Yeah. Okay, and then we close it up.
And you let it go for how long?
Let it here
couple minutes?
Yeah, 2-3 minutes, something like that.
Now, David, it's been a couple minutes, right?
Yes, it has. Let's see, make sure that our pellets are burning in there. We can see we've got a good flame.
All right.
So now we're going to flip it down to start.
Okay. Now, how long you let it circulate, or?
This is just going to take a few minutes for the fire to get established. And what's happening during this process is it's heating the heat exchanger. There's safety devices throughout this device. And one of them is to detect and make sure that there's heat inside of this, to make sure that we're not pushing fuel into a cold furnace. Obviously, if you do that, that's bad, and you're going to get an overflow of pellets. So there's a safety device in here to make sure that you have an active flame.
Now, the unit itself, what powers it? Electricity itself?
Electricity is what drives the motors and the augers and the blowers and all of that stuff. This unit uses very little electricity, less than a hairdryer, actually, to run. A couple of things are going to happen when this thing's ready.
Show me.
You'll get some lights on your timers that'll come on, and also you'll hear the feed auger start to drive out of the bin. And when that happens, you hear those things happen, then you just flip the switch up to start. and you're done. Set your thermostat that's on the wall in your home or in your shop and let it go.
How often do you have to fill the hopper, you know?
So the hopper, you fill that, depending on which size you have, obviously, the size of space that you're trying to heat and how warm you're trying to keep it. Now, for your average homeowner, for the smaller hopper, they're going to fill that about every 3 days. For the larger hopper, about every 10 days.
Now, David, I see that the fan just kicked on, huh?
It did. It did just come on for us. The unit is up to temperature now and everything is operating. So what you would do at this point is go from start to on, and you're done with the lighting procedure.
And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. You will adjust your combustion air and your feed rates depending on the kind of fuel and the size space that you're heating. But other than that, once you get that set, you just adjust your thermostat like you do on any other furnace.
Well, Dave, we're out of time. Let's get a website in. How can we learn more about this wood pellet furnace?
You can reach us at www.naturesrenewable.com and go there. You can get our phone number, our email address, all of that, and get a hold of us.
Dave, I want to thank you for being our guest on Home Talk USA.
Well, thanks for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
All right, that about does it for this week's edition. We want to thank you for tuning in each week. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Y'all come back next week, you hear? Yahoo!
Home Talk with the Cajun Contractor is brought to you in part by Air King, manufacturers of quality ventilation products. For more comfortable living, there's only one name to consider: Air King. Bonide Products, experts in lawn, garden, and pest control solutions, trusted since 1926. For all your roofing solutions, there's only one name: Aztec Washer, when reliability counts. And Boat Life Products, USA made and USA proud for over 50 years. For decorators, deck railing, and accessories, go beyond the ordinary.